So I did just call it in on the radio. I might have to help. One of the vehicles was looking earlier but was unable to spot him. He's in a tricky place. I'm just going to ask Lauren which direction. Lauren, come in. Could you hear those birds there? Amazing how you can have two large predators so close to each other and they don't know that they are that close to each other.
Johnson.
Lauren, I just wanted to check, is Tlalamba on the move?
Negative. She's Lala next to the vehicle.
Okay, copied. Will you just update me if she heads east or stays on the southern side of the drainage line?
Copy. How far away would you say Darkman is?
I could just see the top of the tree, maybe 150 meters, maybe somewhere around there.
Copy.
Okay, cool. So I don't know if you heard.
You locate something, Abel Jacana here. You locate something?
Abel is.
Abel.
Where is Gracie?
I might have to.
Just south of Elephant Carcass, she has a number.
Okay, I'm joining those road from Flimmer's back now, and I will try to...
Oh, there we go. Abel's making his way. He's very excited that Lauren's with the Leopard. So I was just checking. The Leopard is still lying down, so that's good. I mean, I'm not worried that anything would happen. It sounds like she's eaten most of the Duiker, and this lion is so well fed. You probably found the Leopard would just walk past and actually look at him, but maybe just sneak past and he might not even wake up. I'd love to know what he's eaten. And if he caught it himself, or if he maybe caught up with the Nkahuma pride, because we know he hasn't been with the Talamati pride for the last 2 or 3 days, eh? I think it's 3 days since he's been with anyone that we know of. But he is flat out. But the fact that he was roaring pretty constantly this morning, I think we might get lucky. I'm hoping that we might get lucky and he might roar for us this evening in the aim of trying to join up with the pride. Because this morning we heard him roaring pretty constantly. And then he obviously has gone flat there where he's lying now. So let's cross fingers. I don't know if it's him, but you can see the grass behind him. Look how it's flat. He's obviously been flopping around here the whole day. So Jaden, the males will... Sorry, this radio just kicked off. The males will go and do sort of territorial patrols. So they will... Often you'll have one male or a coalition of males might have 2 or 3 prides that they are dominant over or with. And so they will go and do their territorial patrols, making sure that no other males are trying to come into the territory. And so they're quite happy to bounce between the different prides. And sometimes it takes them a few days to catch up again. And I've mentioned it before, the females are often not so keen on the males being there, because then if they catch something, the males will dominate the the carcass, and then they've got to go hunt again. So sometimes you'll see males roaring and roaring, trying to relocate the pride, and you can see the pride listening to them, but they don't call back. But once he sort of gets, if he can get on the scent of them, even if it's from a day or so beforehand, then he'll be able to follow that and catch up with them. And when he does catch up with them, you often will see a lot of head rubbing and grooming, and they actually are happy to be back together. But it is interesting. I mean, he's here on his own, really. And he's holding some pretty prime real estate. If a coalition had to come in from the north, I think he'd be pretty hard pressed to fight them off by himself. Well, I say the north, also the east. They've got the whole Kruger National Park, where coalitions could come in from. And it kind of seems to be the traditional route. Things come down from Timbavati, Avoca, Manyaleti. They get pushed down into this northern part of the Sabi Sands. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few years with the lion dynamics. There's a super interesting documentary. I actually was chatting to Darren about it, and it's quite harsh, quite brutal. It's called Brothers in Blood, and it follows one coalition coming in and that sort of chaos, and then them reigning, and then it shows the next coalition coming in and sort of ousting those males. And some of the footage that was able to be captured, it wasn't filmed by a film crew, no, it was filmed by guests and guides. I think some of it might even be cell phone footage, but because of the way that guides communicate. Sorry, I was moving too much when we zoomed in. Because of the nature of guides communicating and knowing how the pride dynamics and how they moved around, so they were able to piece together the footage from when the first coalition, the Mapochos, were sort of born, and followed their journey as they became adults. And then it followed the rise of the Majinga line, which was the coalition that basically ousted them at the end. And some of the footage really it's so powerful, but it's actually quite a big insight into how brutal the lives of male lions are. They really have to work hard to keep their place at the top, and it's often not long that they'll stay right at the top. It is amazing. It's one of the characteristics that makes me love lions, because obviously if they can run away, if he was to be outnumbered by 2 or 3 other male lions, but if they get cornered, they just never back down. And I mean, it's pretty outrageous to think, one taking on 3, but they go for it. So if you haven't watched it, I'd suggest watching that documentary. It really is impressive. So it's now 5:20. It's 5:20. Should we take bets on what time he's going to roar? We'll think about that for a little bit.
Okay. There's 2 vehicles coming. Tlalamba, you're very popular this evening. Yeah, I'm just thinking we may need to reposition here. I don't think 3 vehicles can fit up here. Okay, we're going to reposition him because there's 2 other vehicles coming into the sighting, and obviously we have had Miss Tlalamba.